Hi, Dan. How are you today?
Doing well, Kathleen. How are you doing?
I'm doing just great. I'm just great. I just wanted to introduce you to everybody who might be listening to this. I have Daniel Glaser from Herzog Law Firm with us today to talk about COVID-19 closings and how we're adjusting during this time to meet the needs of our buyers and sellers. So thank you, Dan, for joining me in this conversation. Even at this time, people have had some housing needs, and our industry has responded with some very creative ways to help, by performing virtual showings, FaceTime showings. I did one just this weekend that resulted in an offer. Inspections and closings are being done creatively with certain protocols put into place while we're keeping our distance. I know that you have conducted some closings, several, in the last few months since before COVID-19. Can you tell us a little bit how closings have changed in your world during this time?
Sure. So when I represent the seller, most sellers now are being asked to pre-sign documents, meaning that they can't attend the closing personally. They'll have to sign the documents with their attorney ahead of time, and then the attorney goes to the closing with the documents uh, and with an authorization to sign anything at the closing if something was missed. And then after the closing, I'll meet with my seller and give him, the checks. So when we meet with clients, it's gloves, it's masks. We'll give you a clean pen, which is yours to keep. So you take it with you. And then for purchases, we are still meeting our buyers at the closing location. We have separate tables. So the buyer and attorney have a separate table. The seller attorney has their own table. We are about 10 feet apart. So, we're throwing documents at each other. I've had closings in the parking lot recently. I had one today in the parking lot. And I said, look, I'll go in, I'll get the documents that you need. I'll bring them out to your car. It is a beautiful day. And it's a great way to get some cardio in. So we were signing on the hood of the car, and then the documents started blowing away in the wind, and then we ran after them. So more cardio. So, we're just trying to find ways to get deals done, but more importantly, stay safe. Certainly I'm not going to get into a car with a client, and say, sign this.
Hmm.
Defeats the purpose.
Right.
Um,
Do you foresee any of these new methods to stay into place in the long term?
I'm not sure. I think as a result of COVID, there's been a lot of um, changes. For example, one of the methods that attorneys use is, so I'll meet with a seller client. He or she will sign documents, and then I will send those documents to the other attorney via FedEx or overnight UPS, with instructions that they hold those documents in escrow, meaning can't do anything with the documents until we as sellers get our money.
Hmm.
Um, so that's being done a lot to, for the social distancing.
Is
So
that going
that,
to delay closings?
no, in fact, I think it's pretty efficient. For scheduling purposes, I think it's a bit easier.
Do you see, I know that there's been some regulatory changes for our industry as realtors. We don't accompany clients on showings. We have all kinds of disclosures to sign in advance, wear protective gear ourselves. If we are going to enter anyone's premises for some special occasions and situations, mostly like with vacant properties, and to do virtual tours and such, and those have to be well thought out and well planned. Do you see in your side of things any regulatory changes that have helped that maybe should stay in place?
Well, I think the fact that sellers, a lot of bank attorneys' offices are putting policies into place to limit attendance at closing for unnecessary parties. You know, for example, closings are a happy occasion, or at least they should be. um, Family members are not allowed to attend. Real estate agents are not allowed to attend. Um, you know, and it's been an adjustment. I like the crowded room. Well, before COVID, of course. Um, you know, there's excitement. There's tears of joy sometimes.
Hmm.
Um, you know, so that part I miss. Um, you know, because it is it should be celebrated.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know when that will come back.
Mm.
You know, it's been an adjustment, but we are all working together, which is nice. We're trying to figure out ways to get it done for our clients while staying safe.
Do you see any ways that this new system could be improved? Like how have things been negatively impacted during this time as well?
Well, from a title search standpoint, some of the title searches are being delayed because the clerk's offices, well, they're closed to the public, but there are still searches being done. You can search records online, but those records only go back so far, you know,
Mm.
back to like 1980. So if you've got to go back before that, or if you've got to search records at surrogate's court, can't do it because they're closed. Um, some deals are on hold, um, and most of the parties involved understand
Yeah.
that there's stuff that is out of our control. Um, and then on the flip side, some people don't understand and then they get upset. So it's like, not sure what to tell you, but um, you know, as as much as people think I know everything, I don't. So when people say, "Well, when are we going to get the title search done?" I don't know, but I do everything I can to get them answers. Um, so hopefully, you know, and that I think is one of the more difficult parts of COVID is the unknown of when a transaction is going to close, or even if it's going to close. We've had some deals that have fallen through because buyers get furloughed or you know, lose their jobs, no longer qualify. Um,
Do you want to talk about that for a second? Are banks being a little bit more lenient in any way? Are deals? I know you and I had a recent deal that fell apart because somebody was unemployed at the time. I have had people ask me this. Well, what if somebody's only furloughed and granted maybe they don't have the income right then, but they're supposed to be coming back to their job? Are banks putting a pause on their process and maybe we could do an extension of some kind?
yeah, I think banks are being great about that. I've seen some banks that are extending rates at no charge due to COVID. If there's any additional fees, of course, within reason,
Mhm.
um, you know, the bank will eat those. Um, and if, you know, the bank has a sense of, you know, when we come out of this, you know, is this buyer going to go back to work? If yes, then, you know, let's keep going.
Mhm. Do you
It's
feel
slowed
more
down.
so than ever in the past, considering we're under a serious condition across the world? Maybe banks, attorneys, real estate agents are a little more patient, a little more friendly, a little more focused on the
I've seen
goal of the
that.
client.
Right. And, I've always been patient. I think patience is my middle name.
Mhm.
Um, Mean Parents, Daniel Patience Glaser. Um, so but like I'm seeing more patients, across the board, and, explaining to other attorneys, look, um, I'm talking to the bank. We're trying to get answers. We had a deal not too long ago about this.
Yeah,
Um, we're working on it, so please be patient. But like I said, there are some people out there that don't have a lot of patience. You know, um, and some of these deals that we're in, they're domino deals. So you've got to sell, you got to buy, and then the transaction behind that, that's contingent on something else. Um, but it's just, keeping everyone talking and up to date on what's going on and hope for the best.
sure, sure. So I think we gave a really good summary of what's been happening. What are you experiencing outside of this, or what would you like to see happening going forward once we get past some so-called normal?
I think, to look at the bigger picture, for people to understand, I know that there's emotion in a real estate transaction, but if you can't close tomorrow, it is not the end of the world. Um, there are things, like I said earlier, there are some things that we have no control over. Um, and even before COVID, you know, um, stuff happens. So, everyone needs to understand and work together. Um, I think it'll make everyone stronger.
Could we put that on a banner and just spread it across the world and say to everybody, let's all work together?
If I had a pilot's license, I'd put a banner behind my plane. If I had a plane, and then I would fly it um,
At
all over
least
the world.
across the capital district.
Yes,
Yeah, in the world that we operate in.
I would.
So, well, this is a great little snapshot, Dan, about COVID-19 closings. I'd never really imagined that this would be something we'd be talking about. And I surely do hope that we get through it all safely and healthy and back to some sort of normal. I love this industry. I love what I do. I like working with you a lot. And, I know clients that I've brought to your attention have really enjoyed the process, the patience in the process, the steps and understanding it all. So, but well, thank you. Thank you for your time
You're very
today.
welcome.
All right. We'll look forward to having other conversations, maybe not involving COVID.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Kathleen.
All right. Thanks again, Dan. Have a good one.
You too.
Okay. Bye.